I'm going to go ahead with the meeting beginning ritual. 起立，面向佛堂，参加先鞠躬，一鞠躬，再鞠躬，三鞠躬，参加各位的传习鞠躬，开班一鞠躬，请坐下。I mentioned quite a few questions over the weekend and also last week. One question was about this whole idea of what to believe or what is possible, what is impossible. Specifically, a question from a young person who has dreams of pursuing a personal goal. And it's, without getting too specific about it, it sounds to me like a lot of the people that I speak with living here in Southern California, I do know quite a few people in the entertainment industry, present company included. And so, you know, and you guys can probably guess, one of the things that actors oftentimes think about is whether or not, you know, he or she will ever make it in the business, in showbiz. And it sometimes can seem like such an impossible dream, but at the same time, they look at themselves, they look at other people, they feel confident in their abilities or talents, they just haven't been discovered yet. And they see, and sometimes they see people on screen, on the big screen, on television, who are not that talented, or they know that they can do a better job, so that keeps them going. But at the same time, they constantly question themselves, you know, should I maybe just be driving a truck instead of trying to go, you know, one audition after another. So I decided that it was a good time to talk about this whole idea of assessing whether a dream is possible or impossible. What if you are being told that your dream is not realistic or not feasible, and perhaps this is the parents, perhaps it's a teacher, maybe your acting coach tells you that you are no good and will never amount to anything. Perhaps a director comes in and says that you are too ugly, you are not beautiful enough for my big budget movie. Then what do? And that actually happened for the movie King Kong. And so this very famous actress that we all know and love today, she was a young actress at the time. She was brought into this movie. So Dino De Laurentiis came in to the office, saw her, and in Italian said, why are you bringing me this ugly thing? Dino did not realize that the actress had lived abroad in Europe and actually knew how to speak Italian. So in Italian, she responded to him saying that, well, you know, I'm sorry that you think so. I will look for, you know, kinder opinions elsewhere, essentially. So she left that audition. Fortunately, her spirit was not broken, and she went on to have an extremely successful career. So even the people who are, quote-unquote, authorities in the field, like this big-time producer director telling you that you are no good, even that is not a complete determinant of the amount of success that you're going to have. But back to the present. So the idea is that life decision, life choice, life goals, aspirations, dreams, vision. What if there are naysayers who tell you that you are just dreaming, come back to earth, come back to reality, it's never going to happen for you, etc. And that person says, well, I should know because I am this and that. I'm the authority in this field. I know people, and you know, my opinion is valued, etc. So how can I tell if my aspiration is feasible, perhaps unrealistic, and basically impossible? So I want to talk about different kinds of impossible. There are certain things that are impossible in life, but that turn out to be possible, and the authorities are wrong. And then there are things in life that are truly impossible, which I will get to in a moment. So one thing about the Tao is that you need to practice being discerning about reality, about other people, and about yourself. When you have that ability of discernment, you can tell much more clearly what it is that you can accomplish and that you cannot. It doesn't matter what other people say. So let me present to you some answers. So as I mentioned, parents and teachers, it's possible that they are right when they tell you something cannot be done, but they're not right all the time, and they're not right about everything. So it's important to stay away from absolutes in this case. And next point, they are probably well-meaning. They probably mean well when they say, oh, don't, this entertainment business, this singing thing that you have in mind, acting, give up that dream, keep it as a hobby, and then pursue something else instead. Go to college, get yourself a degree, become a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer. That's what Asian parents would say. Many Asian parents, not all Asian parents. But they mean well. They want to make sure that you have a solid, reliable future in front of you, and they're trying to save you from disappointment. So they come from good intentions. However, I still need to point out that they're not always right. So in the Tao, we need to recognize the possibility of them being wrong, even when they appear to be authorities on the subject. So I have a couple of examples that I want to share with everyone. So this is my answer to the young person who asked about aspirations in life. So first of all, you'll see a mostly blank slide here with a couple of pictures. Let me share with you what they say about the naysayers of the world. So first example, this gentleman, Simon Newcomb, from 1901, he was an astronomer and mathematician, very well respected, much honored, had won a lot of distinctions. And what he said at the time, in 1901, he said flight by machines heavier than air is unpractical and insignificant, if not utterly impossible. So yeah, sometimes we feel like that when we're at the airport terminal and we're waiting for a flight that's been delayed. Yes, yep, it seems as if flights is utterly impossible, but at the same time, we know that thousands and thousands of planes take off and land in airports all around the world today. So good thing Dr. Newcomb was wrong in 1901. He was wrong in spectacular fashion because even in 1901, the Wright brothers were already flying their experimental planes. They were actually making some progress, getting these contraptions into the air and actually gliding a certain distance in 1901, and their progress was rapid. So even a year after that, they were able to put a person in the contraption and glide for a small distance. This photo that you see here is from 1905. By that time, 4 years after Simon Newcomb made a statement, this particular plane had flown for about 22 miles in half an hour. So that's nothing to sneeze at. And it was, that was the kind of speed that was possible with airplanes, signifying a whole new era to come. So this is why I say that this particular statement from someone who was very well respected was spectacularly wrong in dramatic fashion. So I would use that as a motivating thing to keep in mind that when people are discouraging, telling you that you will never amount to anything, that you keep this in mind. And down here, I hope you recognize that this is an atomic explosion. So what is the statement? Well, this one from Rutherford, and he's one of the titans. He's known as the father of nuclear engineering. So this is, and he had more of his students won the Nobel Prize in physics than any other figure in history. So this is one of the most revered physicists historically. But he said this really boneheaded thing that the energy produced by breaking down the atom is a very poor kind of thing. Anyone expecting source of power from that transformation is talking moonshine. So this became the quote-unquote the moonshine remark, documented, recorded in history. He said that in 1933. 10 years later, the first successful atomic explosion. 20 years later, well, we know what happened. Atomic weapons used in World War II, devastating effects. So, the good doctor was spectacularly wrong, dramatically wrong. So these are actual examples drawn from history about how authoritative figures can
sometimes show that they have feet of clay, that they are not always right. They don't know everything. They're not always correct in predicting your downfall or your failure. Now, this being the Tao, I always need to seek a balance. I want to bring to your awareness the flip side of this coin, and that is there are also many samples. There are many PowerPoint presentations in the world that are showcased, that want to say something like this, that what you see here, but they are quoting made-up quotes. They're presenting things that certain people said that they haven't actually said. So while the sentiment they're expressing is admirable, that don't give up, you can do it. The example that they are using is something that's lacking historical authenticity. So it's important for me to always be as accurate as I possibly can be. So I want to present to you the misquoted motivational slides. There's probably one of these quotes being shown in a PowerPoint somewhere in the country right now. You know, when somebody is trying to motivate people and saying that, yeah, your dreams of becoming an actor and an Oscar, well, just look at these quotes. So first, Charles Duell, U.S. Patent Office, the claim was that he said back in 1899 that everything that could be invented by humanity had already been invented. He actually did not say that. And Thomas Watson, IBM chairman, back in 1943, the claim is that he estimated the world market, the world demand for computers was 5 mainframes. Okay, well, we know that's not the case. In the typical household today, if you count the cell phones, a cell phone today is more powerful than the mainframe computer back then. Pretty much everybody has 5 computers or more. Or, you know, count the desktops, the laptops, the tablets. Wow, we are just swimming in computers. So definitely that would be wrong. But he didn't say that. He would not have said something like that. This is another misquote. And last one, Bill Gates. The claim was that Bill Gates said 640K memory should be enough for anybody. That's actually not an accurate claim either. Bill Gates himself had remarked, he said, you know, I've said plenty of stupid things that I regret, just not that one, you know. So it's true that the authorities are wrong about many things, but we should be careful. Think about this reality. Think about the fact that we have all these powerful computers at our disposal today. So it's actually quite easy for us to check the authenticity and the accuracy of a quote before we actually use it in our own presentations. Most people don't, though, because most people are after the dramatic effect of having someone say something so outrageous and so obviously wrong that we will use it as a good example for our own PowerPoint presentations. So, so far you have seen things that appear to authorities as impossible but are actually not, and claims of things being impossible actually not. Although these are misquotes, the point still is that there are certain things that are impossible, quote unquote, but turn out to be possible. So that's one kind of impossible, the false, illusory kind of impossible that we need to recognize with the discernment of the Tao. Now, so what's the other kind? What's the flip side of that? What's the complement of that? The things that are really impossible, actually, truly impossible. So I can use one example. Suppose I am flabby. Well, I don't actually have to suppose. I am flabby, and I consume a pizza, ice cream, cheesecake, and then I go take a nap. When I wake up, I have 6-pack abs. Okay, that's the impossible. That's the actual impossibility. And I might say that, well, you know, nothing is impossible. Why? Just look at all these examples of famous people who said that something was impossible. Who knows? I could wake up with a six-pack, and you will probably have to sit me down and say, Derek, no, don't even go there, Derek. It's not possible. But then I will counteract and rebuttal with a convincing argument and tell you that I have seen this on TV. What am I talking about? The actually impossible thing? I saw this television show where this police forensic scientist was struck by lightning with a mixture of different chemicals and it put him into a coma. And when he came to, his friends are telling him that, dude, you were struck by lightning. What? And then he saw himself upon awakening from a coma and said, oh, lightning gave me abs? See, it's possible. So, okay, it's possible in Flash, the television show, impossible in reality. So that's the point that I wanted to make. So in reality, how did this particular actor get his abs? Well, it's not surprising. We know the secret. He wasn't actually struck by lightning. He did not actually consume, like I did, ice cream and cheesecake and this and that, and took a nap. This represents years of sit-ups, many sit-ups, and also watching his diet very, very carefully. In fact, eating things that most people would not find so enjoyable just to get through a meal. So that's what actually produces that. Unfortunately, not lightning, and that's the Tao too. That it has to be a journey of 1,000 miles for Flash to get his abs, and not being struck by lightning, which is the power fantasy that appeals mostly to juvenile young men. And I hope that as grown-up adults that we have outgrown that particular fantasy. Okay.
Let's go ahead and do the meeting ending ritual, everybody. 起立，面向佛堂，持架3鞠躬，一鞠躬，再鞠躬，3鞠躬，持架规则是1鞠躬，接班1鞠躬。Okay, everybody, we are done.
Participate in the Tao meeting by joining us online. For information, go to Taoism.net/Tao